God aften og velkommen til den 11. time. Lad os starte med at se på et lille kunstværk. Du kan ikke lade være med at kigge på det her. Og her er der en anden en. Sådan ser Gud ud. Og så en lidt længere sag. Besked til alle i universet. Stop det, du laver, og lyt efter. En af Guds talsmænd skal til at fortælle dig noget. Og så står der nede i bunden af siden. Måske alligevel ikke. Fortsæt det, du laver, og vent på yderligere besked. De her små ting er lavet af den engelske kunstner David Shrigley, som er blevet en stjerne på den internationale kunsthimmel og udstiller på gallerier og museer over hele verden. For tiden kan man se hans fantastiske tegninger, malerier og skulpturer på Malmø Kunsthal. Over 35.000 mennesker har været inde og se udstillingen. Man kan lige nå det endnu, da den først slutter her i weekenden. Det er helt fantastisk, at vi har ham her i programmet i aften, så derfor vil jeg lige, inden han kommer, vise en lille ting, han har lavet, som jeg virkelig kan identificere mig med. Jeg tror, vi ser en østers her, og så en lille perle, der siger, jeg er speciel. Hi.
Mikael. Thank you.
Suddenly your drawings are all over the floor.
I know.
Sorry.
Very disrespectful.
Yeah. Last time we had a foreign guest in the show, it was Mikael Bertelsens, the last great leader of the Soviet Union.
Uh-huh.
And he solved the Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
So expectations are very high tonight.
Yeah, I know.
But the first time I saw some of your artwork, it totally blew my mind because I was at a dinner party at a friend's house and suddenly I reached for the salt and pepper and I saw these.
Good.
And I didn't know you made them, but I was just laughing. I thought it was fantastic.
Good.
And I turned it upside down, got a lot of salt on my food, and saw that in the bottom, David Shrigley, and you made them in 2000. And for what? Just for?
I made them for a museum in Avignon, in the south of France, and I was asked to make something for their cafe. So I made these. I thought it would be funny, and my idea was that they would just have them in the cafe, and if you wanted to have them, you would have to steal them from the cafe.
Okay.
So they weren't going to be for sale. But of course, they didn't listen to me, and they sell them, and they don't pay me either, which is kind of bad. But they pay me. Okay. They give me these, and I give them to people for their birthdays and stuff. So, yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I read that before you became a successful artist, you had a job as a gallery guide.
Yeah, this was one of my jobs. But yeah, I was a gallery guide for 5 years in a museum in Glasgow, an art museum. And
you live in Glasgow?
I live in Glasgow now, yeah, since 20 years almost. So yeah, I was quite a good gallery guide, I think.
Showing people around, visitors, explaining the artwork?
Yeah, well, there's quite a hostility to contemporary art, I think, in Britain, but in Glasgow in particular, I guess, because it's quite a working class city and they don't really take to pretentiousness very well. So I was the intermediary between contemporary art and the people of Glasgow for a few years.
We have a lot of your pieces here tonight, so I was wondering if you could be the gallery guide tonight.
Okay.
And talk about your own work. You're welcome to talk about yourself in third person.
Okay. This is what David Shrigley thinks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can do that.
This is why he did this.
Okay, I might just stick to the first person, I think.
Okay, feel free. A couple of years ago, you made a record called Worried.
Noodles.
Yeah. Yes. That's a fantastic title.
Yeah.
Where did it come from?
Well, I guess the record, I should explain, is a record without a record. It's just a record sleeve with an empty dust sleeve inside it, and it also has a songbook. And the project came about because I met a German record label, some people from a German record label, when I was doing a show in Cologne one time a few years ago, and they were very enthusiastic about my work and wanted me to design a t-shirt and record cover for some of their bands, but I never got round to the record cover, so I think they got quite impatient and they said, let's do a record cover anyway, just without a record in it, and it'll be like a conceptual artwork. So I was like, yeah, that sounds good, but as I worked on it, it occurred to me that nobody would buy it if it didn't have a record in it. Yeah. So I made this songbook, so it had a bit more substance.
So there were texts inside the album?
Yeah, I mean...
And the title?
Well, Worried Noodles, that was... because it was originally just going to be an artwork, I'd made some paintings, and one of them with text, and one of them just said worried, and the other one said noodles, and they were square, so I thought, yeah, that would make a nice, strong image for the cover. So I guess, in a way, the title was just the cover, in a way. So they don't really have any relationship to each other.
But then last week, a CD came out.
I know.
With the fantastic musicians on it. We have David Byrne from legendary Talking Heads, Franz Ferdinand, and they made the music for the kind of the album with no music, and they used your lyrics.
Yeah. Well, when I wrote the original songbook in the original publication, which was a couple of years ago, I didn't have any idea that anybody would try to actually make musical versions of the songs. They were just written as text, I suppose, so a bit like concrete poetry, and they were only songs because I called them songs. So yeah, I suppose in retrospect, I should have expected it to happen, but I didn't expect David Byrne to be singing one of my songs.
No,
you know,
this is fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And how did you get in contact with him? How did he end up in?
Well, the record label kind of suggested, they were like, who should we ask? And they suggested a lot of musicians because they have a roster of musicians on their label. And then they asked me if I wanted to ask some people. And I like David Byrne a lot, so we asked David Byrne.
Let's see some more of your work. This is maybe kind of a little memory from your time as a gallery guide.
Yeah.
This is a drawing of a giant sculpture.
Yeah.
And in the little bubble, people are looking at the art and says,
it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this is a comment on public art and maybe art in general. The word crap is in the drawing is a kind of, looks like a civic sculpture. So I suppose it's a kind of critique of civic art, you know, maybe.
Yeah. I really like this one. A book with one page.
Yeah. I guess it speaks for itself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
A book is only, a book doesn't have to have any set number of pages. In fact, it can just have one page. So I guess I suppose it's an idea.
But you've published a lot of books.
I have. I don't even know how many I've published now, but I've been doing it for a long time.
More than 30?
More than 30, yeah. 30 plus.
Let's walk on to the next piece. Yes, I'm asleep, Mom. Love, Kelly.
Yeah, this is a found artwork.
This is not your handwriting?
No, it's a friend of mine. It's kind of from my collection of found artwork. I guess it's a sign presumably from a child's bedroom door, indicating something to their mother. But I have a friend who works in the Salvation Army shop, which is a chain of charity shops in the UK, and they sell old clothes. And whenever they get a new consignment of old clothes, he goes through all the pockets of the clothes to check that there isn't any dirty handkerchiefs or anything unpleasant, and any notes or letters or anything he finds, and he sends them to me, because I have this growing collection of this stuff. But this is a really great, it's a really great sign.
Why?
I suppose it's the attraction of these things is that they're out of context. So you're invited to invent the story yourself as to where this sign fits. So I guess that's the attraction of them, that they come context free.
Yeah.
So it inspires your imagination more.
In your big show in Malmö in Sweden, there's a glass bowl where you collected your toenails for 5 years?
Oh yeah, 5 years. It's called 5 years of toenail clippings. I'm not very imaginative with titles, but so I can't remember why I started collecting my toenails. I think, and I don't know why it lasted for 5 years, but I suppose, I don't know. I guess once I'd done it for 5 years, I figured that was long enough. And in retrospect, it's interesting to see what kind of volume 5 years of toenail clippings.
It's like,
It's not a lot, you know?
No?
Yeah, it's a mouthful or a handful.
Yeah. And what I was really fascinated about, on your homepage, you invited people to make make requests for posters.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain how it works?
I guess as a result of doing what I do, some people misunderstand my job description and think that I'm an illustrator. So I get asked to do illustrations for magazines and newspapers to accompany text, to do portraits of people and stuff about articles and things. So I always do it. I tend to say yes, but I'm not really an illustrator, and I can't really draw very well. I guess that's not really what I'm about. But after doing a bit of illustration, it kind of occurred to me that I was quite into the starting point illustration gives you. People just tell you to draw something, and you have to do it. And as a fine artist, that's not the way it works. Usually you just start with a blank page and you have to fill up the page, and that's sometimes quite hard. So I guess I just decided to invite people to give me illustration briefs. And
what could that be, for example?
Well, it was anything really. I mean, I guess I suggested that it should be an event, a
birthday
gig, a party, birthday party, a gig,
housewarming,
weddings, housewarmings. But it tended to be a lot of different things as well. I did everything from the Basel Art Fair to the death of pet animals and things. It was quite.
How come?
Well, there was one guy who a Turkish guy who asked me to do a poster to commemorate the death of his pet bird, and I was like, okay, that's fine, I'll do that. But I didn't say no to anything.
No.
But I didn't redo anything, so they just had to get what they were given. And the project ended at a certain point, and then after it ended, I didn't do any more, which was good.
Did you get many requests?
Yeah, I got a lot. I did about 300, and I probably could have done a lot more, but I had to set a deadline to it. So anyway, the guy who asked me to commemorate the death of his pet bird then sent me a request to do something about his sister had a miscarriage or something. His sister had a miscarriage, and he wanted me to do a poster about his sister's miscarriage. And I was really glad that the deadline has expired, because I felt...
maybe he was ironic about it.
I don't think you can be ironic about something like that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've never been to Turkey. But it was strange. So there was quite a few peculiar requests, but I did 300 in the end. and
Okay.
they're on show in the Malmö Konsthall.
Another thing is that people ask you to do, personal tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
How did that start up?
Well, I think somebody just asked me, sent me an email, because I have a website, davidshrigley.com, and it's just a conduit to all the crazy people and the normal people of the world who want to get in touch with me. So a few times, sometimes people have asked me. I think the first thing I did was for a girl who wanted a bird tattooed on her chest, kind of upper chest, and that was kind of strange. And I've done a few since then, and I put pictures of them on the website, and then it's not that bird.
So it wasn't this bird?
No, not the bird. The bird of prey diving for meat. No.
Okay.
But anyway, the bird was quite good. But there was another girl actually who sent me an email to say, would I design a tattoo? And I was just answering emails at my computer in the evening. So I was like, okay. And just flippantly, I just did a drawing, and it was a really very simple drawing of some socks, and it just said socks. Okay. And I just put it on the scanner and sent it to her. And I was thinking, she's never going to have that tattooed. And then a week later, she said, I've got the tattoo. And I was like, wow, really? Gosh. Okay. And I said, well, can I take a photograph of it? Because she was from Glasgow. So I arranged to meet her one Saturday, and we were going to have a cup of coffee or something. And then she sent me another email, and I looked at her MySpace page, and it transpired that she was 15 years old. And I was thinking, ooh, okay, this is not so good.
But do you meet people who says,
Not really. I mean, generally they don't live in Glasgow, so, I don't have the opportunity to meet them. So anyway, I went to meet her, and she was 15, and I was thinking, oh no. And I was like, okay, can I see the tattoo? And she'd had it tattooed like kind of downstairs, So I was like, oh God. So we went to my studio, and some of my friends were there, and like, Dave, what are you doing with that girl? She's like, don't ask, I'll tell you later. Yeah. So anyway, she starts, and I was like, oh, that's enough. Yeah, I got it. I took one picture, and she was like, don't you want to take another picture? Was that in focus? I was like, it's fine, it's done. So, yeah, but she's 16 now, so I guess it's okay.
Could we do a tattoo now on me? Mm-hmm. You just I have this.
Yeah.
Could you?
If you want.
I want mine.
It might hurt.
Here.
We have to have a needle as well. Do we not? It's like prison tattoos.
I think if I like it, I'll get it done later.
Okay.
Before the ink.
All right. If you like it, you can pay for it. You have to maybe ask your wife.
Back. In 5?
Back in 5 minutes. You like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Shall I get the needle out and we'll finish it?
But it's good for TV.
Yeah. Back in 5. You can show it to the
But we don't have commercial breaks.
Oh. Oh well.
But what I really find inspiring about the things you do is, a lot of people would like to be drawing stuff,
mm-hmm.
but I think they have a kind of they're too afraid to do it because I can't draw, and so when you look at the empty paper, you just really get scared
mm-hmm.
of doing it. But it seems like in your stuff, you just do it without judging if it's a good or bad drawing. It's kind of a mind flow.
Well,
how many drawings do you produce weekly?
It depends what else I've got to do, really. I mean, I just try to do 30 drawings in a day, because that's how many sheets.
Every day?
Well, yeah, when I'm working. If there's a sheet, the pad of paper comes with 30 sheets, and I just.
But that becomes,
expensive.
No, so many drawings a year.
Yeah, but they recycle. I tear them up and recycle them.
So when you're drawing, you don't judge what you do. You're just doing it.
I just have to fill the page.
We have one here. Maybe you can read it.
Even though she is enormous and terrifying, she is more afraid of you than you are of her. That's what you get told about most wild animals, isn't it? But I'm sure it's not true, you know. I was in Colorado recently, in Aspen, and they have a big bear problem in Aspen. And they say, well, you know, the bear's more afraid of you than you are of it. And I'm like, but it's a bear, you know? It could kill me easily. Why would it be afraid of me, you know?
I really like this one.
Lies, yeah.
It's a kind of a little tea party.
Yes,
Yeah.
I guess.
And you have to look at it for a while.
Yeah, it's yeah. I did a series of diagrams. I'm quite into diagrams, image and text. I like the way that, you know, diagrams don't really mean anything without the text, but then they mean a lot with the text. I do a lot of diagrams that aren't really diagrams of anything in particular, you know. I'm just into diagrams. I think it's a Virgo thing.
But then you're just drawing every day, but when do you come to the process of judging if this is something you want to show to a lot of people?
I guess when I have a lot of boxes where I keep all the drawings, and when the boxes are full, I just start to edit them, you know. So yeah, when the box is full, when there's no more paper.
And what is the criteria of when something is good?
I don't know. You know, to me it makes perfect sense. To me this is a finished drawing. You have no fucking emails. This is finished. It says everything I want to say. But I kind of think that if I actually let somebody else do the editing, I would end up with a whole different group of drawings. But I try not to think about that.
This is not really a drawing, it's just a text, but I really like it.
Yeah.
I should be working. I shouldn't be here doing this. I should be sitting at my desk in my office, making telephone calls and ordering data. Perhaps I should destroy this when I have finished, as it is evidence of my idleness.
Idleness. Do you know what idleness? Well, I guess the translator's going to tell you what idleness means, so...
It's not laziness, but
no,
it's not...
It's when you're doing nothing, but it implies, when it's applied to a human being, it implies laziness. But with you can also say idle as your computer can be idle, you know.
Yeah, or a TV show could be.
Could be idle, yes, if nothing's happening.
Yeah. But you seem so productive that when did this come out of your head?
I don't know. Well, this is an image from my new book. It's kind of started off as a book of poems, and it ended up as a book of poems and drawings, as most things do. But yeah, I guess, I don't know. I just sit down with some paper and it just happens, you know. It's my job.
Yeah. There's so much to show. I really like this one.
This is how I feel. I know it is not how I look, but that is not important. It is how I feel that is important, and this is how I feel. I guess it's about feeling not self-confident about your body image.
Yeah. Is it the gallery guide speaking now?
Yeah, I'm the gallery guide, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guiding you through my oeuvre.
Yeah. So could you explain a little bit more?
What it means? Well, you know, I guess when people say, what does this work mean? I always say, what do you think it means? Because I think contemporary art is, well, contemporary art in particular, but art in general, it is what you think it is. And so it's, if you are really didactic about the way that you describe it, it's probably not that helpful for the people that are looking at it, because they won't really enjoy figuring out or deciding what it means for themselves. But there's lots of different meanings to everything.
Yeah. Do you want to choose one?
Okay.
This is a photo.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
that's good.
Okay. This is a photo, antidepressants. It's a big bucket of antidepressants, but this is actually my studio a few years ago before I moved studio into a nicer studio. And it was kind of cold and it was the winter time and it's very messy and dirty. And this is a big bucket of modelling material, plaster or something. So I guess, I don't know, I just wrote antidepressants on it and took a photograph. It's something that I do a lot. I make these things and take pictures of them. And at the time I did it, it wasn't really supposed to be art, you know. It's purely to amuse the people I share the studio with. But I guess sometimes it just sort of happens, ends up being art and ends up being a finished artwork. But that's how I work anyway, you know. I don't know, you never know what's going to happen. You just keep working.
David Shrigley, it's been a pleasure having you here. Time slips away when you're in good company.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You think it went very fast? Or?
It went really fast.
Yeah.
Like in the blink of an eye.
Mm. But if you want to say something,
Okay.
now is the time. Because you can do it directly to our viewers.
Okay.
We have a comedy show coming up after our show, but sometimes if the guests feel like it, and if you're tired, I know you have been taking a flight here, you can say good night directly to our viewers if you feel like it.
Okay.
You can do it in this camera.
Okay. Hi there. Thanks for joining us this evening. It's been my pleasure to be here in your company. Don't stay up too late, but if you want to watch the next program, that's fine. But remember, you've probably got work tomorrow, so sleep well.
Thanks a lot. And
My
thanks
pleasure.
for the tattoo. I really like it.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's probably the lines are probably a little bit thick.
And I will take up all the drawings because it was not to be disrespectful to throw them at the floor.
That's all right.
Okay.
I don't take offense.